We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 86 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're gonna get kicked out of being number 2. You're gonna go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're gonna get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, since I haven't spoken to this chance, Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is that not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
The very same time that the Negro in the land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest. Meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges. Government money. Teach them how to farm. This is what we are faced with. This is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and approved ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the mountain. Good evening in the central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Reparationist Perspective, bringing you those Adocs, hot topics, and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. And today, family, we're going to talk about these Adocs Pan-Africanists and Nigerians who think that Nigerians, Africans, and Caribbeans should be paid our reparations. Yeah, we're going to talk about it, family. We've got to talk about it because folks are all the way confused if they think that they can be making incomes that are $20,000 and greater than ours. And yet, We are the ones suffering under the boot of oppression in this country by and large. Yeah, they got the Adocs, the Reparations movement, all the way confused. So I'm here because I've been getting a lot of praise and condemnation for standing on my square, wherein Adocs and their specific trillions over multi-generations should be paid. I don't mince words about that. I'm not at all confused, and neither are my comrades. So I'm here to help the Pan-Africanists out who sit up here and cape harder for a people that choose to call us Akata and all these kind of negative names and constantly spewing negative white oppressive rhetoric about us as a people, constantly trying to say that we're lazy, shiftless, no good, no count, not appreciative of being in America, right? They come here and they weaponize their accents and they weaponize where they're from to get position over Adocs. Or they're cool with you until they become white. And what I mean by white is money is the distinguishing factor, you see. Once they're made white through their capital at our expense, then it's a whole nother Oprah. Then we become lower than well shit, you see. So I got to talk about it because I'm hotter than fish grease that even our very own who descend from U.S. chattel slavery are on this bandwagon of who should get our reparations. You see, when we show up at job interviews, they know the difference between my accent and Caribbean accent and African accent. There's a real clear distinction. Yes, it is. It's real clear. When you look at my last name as compared to an African last name and a Caribbean last name, they know all too well who they owe that justice claim to. They know all too well. So for Africans, especially Nigerians, to try to play stupid as if they had no role in selling our ancestors to this country for alcohol and materials and things of this nature. Yeah, for them to now play dumb, come over here and make friends with us, start earning 50K or greater, and then to crap on us, it is unacceptable. And I'm going to get into that today. Welcome, Ivy Dreams. Welcome, one and all who have yet to type your name in the chat. But I'm here to get the ingrates, the unappreciative Nigerians. If you're an ally, I'm not talking to you. And I'm sick of being held hostage about the way I truly feel because everybody, including paid off Adocs, want to call me a xenophobe for unflattening blackness so that the governments at every branch can recognize the failure towards the very black American U.S. chattel slavery descendants. I need them to see us clearly, and they know what they're doing. They need to make just enough Caribbean and just enough Nigerian slightly satisfied to justify tethering Adocs to the bottom of the Titanic of this country's capitalism, because they're discriminating against us while using our affirmative action to give education and employment in both the public and private sectors to immigrants, the black ones included. So I want to play a little tape. I tried to do it earlier. No one could hear me. I had to erase that. So I'm back to play that, and then we're going to get into it. This is an interview
on the Uhuru channel. Now he's got 100,000 subscribers over there. I'm being shadow banned. His efforts, are to merge the diaspora with the U.S. That's Pan-Africanism to me. And the only ones that are on Pan-Africanism is us. In Africa, they sell out their own to their colonizers. They didn't do what we did to get what we got. You understand what I'm telling you? They did not go to war with their colonizers. And it's more of them than there are of us. No. The niggerati in their countries chose to get their bread buttered. They're living quite well, while the majority of the Nigerians are suffering in squalor. You see. But they got a lot to say about the black descendants of American chattel slavery. They've got a lot of lip service and want to try to shame me for putting a gate up on our reparations. We're the only ones that are owed. We were your reparations. So let's get into it as to why I say what I say. I'm going to read your comments, Ivy Dreams, when I get back. I have to share my screen right now. And if I disappear, it's because I'm reading. But before I close the show out, I'll be here to read your comments aloud. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you to all who have contributed to the show. It enables me to make the show even more grand, and it enables me to educate the masses and advocate for Adocs, which I do round the clock, as many of you do know. So let's get into the video, and then we're going to talk about its contents. Stand by. Was she did not teach it effectively. Most American descendants of chattel slaveries included the Democrats at the top of that ticket too. That's what down ballot means. That's what down ballot meant to them. So not voting at all, I hear a lot of people in the new black media talking about don't go and vote. Well, let me help you with something. Not voting is suppressing your own vote, which is exactly what they want us to do. We've been neutralized economically. Now immigration is being weaponized against us by the Democrats to neutralize our vote. Now Teddy Roosevelt, after being delivered with the presidency from the black vote, dishonorably discharged 167 Buffalo soldiers who were wrongfully accused of murdering a second white man after being quarantined in their barracks for being wrongfully accused of murdering the first. Dr. Charles Morris, pastor of Abyssinian Church, said, "You shot us when our guns were empty, and for that we are going to return the same by delivering a blue top of the ticket and a red Congress to protect the black South." I am calling on all Adocs, F. Friedman, B1, FBA, to stop this madness of rewarding the Democrats for the trifecta when they continue to neglect our social and economic justice because their capitalism requires an anchor, and they decided it's us by way of legislation overwrought with institutional systemic racism. I am imploring upon us that we weaponize the only commodity we got as a collective, the Adocs vote, akin to the humanity of Dr. Charles Morris. Deliver them a red top of the ticket and a blue Congress by voting anybody but Democrats at the top of the ticket to protect the over 50% of Adocs who rely on government assistance by design of institutional systemic racism until we can replace the lanes in Congress with full-chested cash reparations who believe in repair the trillions over multiple generations. I can promise you this, a trifecta of either party has proven to be the death knell for Adocs. We are at George Floyd as state-sanctioned and deputized executions of Adocs continue. This last little bit, if you can bear with me, is 3 minutes. I hear the Pan-Africanists trying to make us... Okay, I want to do this in two parts because it's about 3 more minutes on that latter half. And of course, the guy in the upper right in the white t-shirt wanted to bulldoze me and not give me an opportunity to speak. Even though I announced at the top of what I had to share in this particular segment, I announced that I had to jump in 10 minutes because I had to get to a major meeting because we're fighting for reparations on the state and federal levels, you see. The movement takes cat naps. Let me bring my picture up and then I'll go back and make it large again. Oh, Ivy Dream says he attacked her too. Oh, yes. This bull in a China store, Pan-Africanist, I thought he was Nigerian as hard as he fought me in the second half of what you're about to hear momentarily. But I want to get into why we as Adocs, FBA, Freedmen, and B1 have to teach and educate our population of the importance of weaponizing the vote and socializing the suffering. You see, when there's a trifecta of the Democrats in charge, the sheeple, the black sheeple that is, just go right back to sleep. That's what they do. No other groups suffer under the Democrats but the Adocs. These immigrants are doing quite well. As I share with you in my subject line, down here in LA, where we're in our, I think going on 5th month in December, in our intense fight for reparations, preferably the homeless down here, our homeless, we're 44% of the greed, less than 5% of the population, but we're 90% of the homeless population. Did you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? So when I talk about this weaponization of our vote, I was sharing in this segment yesterday that Yvette Carnell did not teach down ballot effectively enough. She didn't teach the vote. Well, she did say it, but folks were still confused. Maybe that's not her fault. I'm not going to blame her necessarily because I did hear her say vote down ballot. I just don't think enough emphasis was placed on anybody at the top to make room for a red top. Now, why do we need a red top? Adocs, FBA, B1, Freedmen. We need a red top and a blue Congress akin to what Dr. Charles Morris was trying to suggest. When Teddy Roosevelt won the black vote and then crapped all over the Buffalo Soldiers with a dishonorable discharge for allegedly murdering a second white man after being quarantined to their barracks for being wrongfully accused of murdering the first. 167 Buffalo Soldiers doing Teddy. And Dr. Charles Morris said, let's lock the government down. You don't get a red top because we were Republicans then. You don't get a red top of this ticket until you do better by the Black South. Okay? That is called chess and not trifecta vote blue, no matter damn who checkers that we've been playing since FDR, and now we are the anchor of this country's capitalism. These immigrants fled their Holocaust. We're still living ours. They fled colonization and all the things that were wrong in their countries, albeit I'm sure America had a role in most of it, but they didn't stay and bleed and die like we did here. Our descendants refused to leave and have suffered some of the worst heinous Jim Crow black codes, convict leasing known to the free world. Then our people sheepwalked to the polls to put Jim Crow, Sleepy Creepy Joe into the White House with Kabami, who never met an Adocs that she actually likes, although she pretends to be black for the vote, you see. Our people, 87% of our electorate
sleptwalk to the polls to deliver these two, what's the word I'm looking for? Hitlers, the White House. Because Trump is racist and he sends mean tweets. Now, Trump indirectly did something for us when he staved off immigration that Biden has chosen to use our reparations to flood the country with. Something like $6 billion he's given to the Afghan refugees. What has he done for Adocs, who delivered him and Kabami the White House? What has he given? What has Biden and Kabami done for the very Adocs that delivered them the White House? Put it in the chat. We've got a Juneteenth holiday that we were already celebrating and a hip-hop festival in August. Everybody's been eating large and in charge between pandemic money, illegals, and refugees. That's where our reparations are going, while Biden says, we don't have enough money to pay all them trillions. Yes, on the low end, it's $104 trillion, and we didn't say you had to cut the checks all at once. We will gladly take direct deposits akin to the pandemic money. Like New York gave illegals $15,000 apiece. Like you gave $350 billion to Asian American Pacific Islanders plus protections. You know how much money you're spending at the border to bring in Hispanics and run off the Haitians. I ain't crying for none of it. I'm not for any immigration in this country until Adocs, B1, FBA freedmen are made whole on that debt that you owe. But see, this is their plan, family. You got to start using your third eye. The plan is to replace us with the immigrant niggerati, whom they put out front on all the major networks to undermine our efforts as the reparationist movement. And they're playing their position because they get paid far better than us to play that position. If I'm lying, why don't you see them on their outlets talking about the reparations that are exclusively owed to us for our ancestors paying for the wealth that they eat from with their lives? Why don't you see them doing that? I don't see any of these Pan-Africanist platforms doing that. I see them talking about, you guys need to go out here and start your own businesses. I see them constantly talking about us, constantly talking against us, absorbing all of our industries, Hollywood included. Because the goal is to replace us with as few of them as possible, while they extinct us to as few a number as the Indians. So like I said in my title, these immigrants are not going to weaponize the vote because it serves their bottom line that we stay the anchor of the country's capitalism, because capitalism always needs a bottom cast. And this country's plans are 100 years old to ensure that it's us. And they're fighting to make sure we're permanently tethered to the bottom. So they vote along the lines of whiteness, this fake liberal-ish that ain't produced nothing, not even for the white folks. That's politics. And so I'm imploring upon us to implore upon everyone we know, we've got to make room for a red top and a blue Congress. Until we can replace the lames in office
with full-chested cash reparationists who believe in cash repair in the trillions over multi-generations. And when you've been neutralized economically, hell, it may take us 100 years to turn it around. But in the meantime, you can fight statewide, like CJEC is here in Southern California. We are at that table. You will not give us what you gave Evanston, a housing voucher that 16 folks, I don't even know if they can benefit from it because so much bureaucratic red tape was attached. No, that won't be happening to the repair down here in California. And if it does, it won't be because we weren't leaning in. I literally am live streaming while I'm in court at trial. And I make sure I, tip out or, do what I got to do to speak at the top of the hour. And to get these folks straight on the data, because that's all they understand. They don't understand emotionalism. But they understand when I tell them here in LA, per the 2014 Color of Wealth LA report, the Nigerians were $60,000 liquid at the time to Adocs 200 liquid. Yes, our descendants of slave traders are 60,000 liquid in LA to Adocs 200 liquid per the 2014 Color of Wealth LA report. You can pull it down for yourselves. They got a median wealth position at that time of 72,000 to Adocs 3,500. So who do you think lives in the hood? Nigerians who are worth 60,000 liquid or Adocs who are worth 200 liquid? Who do you think is being executed by state and deputized sanction? Where are these race soldiers policing? Are they in the neighborhoods where you got 60,000 in the bank? Are they in the neighborhoods where you got 200 in the bank? Where are the schools, the preschool to prison pipelines reside? Are they in the Nigerian neighborhoods where there's 60,000 liquid, or are they in Adocs neighborhoods where you're 200 liquid? Where are the most single mothers raising all them kids? Would they be in the Nigerian households where you're 60,000 liquid, which means if you're married, you're 120,000 liquid? Or will they be in Adocs neighborhoods where you're 200 liquid? How about the highest rates of unemployment and underemployment? Is that happening to Nigerians who are 60,000 liquid, or is that happening to Adocs who are 200 liquid? How about redlining into environmentally racist communities with lead paint and lead in the water, cancer alleys? Is that what Nigerians who are worth 60,000 liquid back in 2014, God only knows how much they've amassed now. It's hard to find a lot of this data. They are hiding this data and flattening blackness on purpose as they give our reparations to immigrants. So are Nigerians who are 60,000 liquid drinking lead water, lead paint, kids suffering and dying from asthma? Or would that be in the neighborhoods where Adocs, whose ancestors build all the wealth they eat from in a mass, is that happening in the neighborhoods where you're 200 liquid? Adocs life. I see you, Trey. I see you, Shanna. Thank you for joining the live. When it comes to
the pandemic. Who do you think these hospitals are sending away? Who can't afford the best health insurance or any at all? Who's having to get free health insurance when it ain't worth a damn? Are they more prone when Nigerians show up with the COVID to intubate them or intubate us? Are they more prone to intubate the people who came up on our affirmative action in our country after selling us into slavery? Are they more prone to intubate them who are 60,000 liquid in 2014? Are they more prone to intubate us? Who are they more prone to send home with the COVID? Who are they more prone not to test in the beginning when they didn't have enough tests? Who are they more prone to give the 5,000 per shot remdesivir to? Nigerians who are worth 60,000 liquid in LA, or Adocs who are worth 200 in LA? The COVID ain't killing us. Medical bias is. Medical bias is killing us. Where are the immigrants, the black ones, marching against all of these atrocities? When they need more slaves for the private prison industrial complex, are they going over into Nigerians' neighborhoods where there's 60,000 liquid and locking them up for pick a goddamn reason? Are they in the neighborhoods picking up new slaves where the folks can't even bail? 200 liquid. You tell me. Since I'm the fucking xenophobe. I'm the xenophobe. You see. Because I call it out, and I'm going to continue to call it out, and I don't care what you call me. Whose kids are more prone to be in foster care? We got 900,000 kids down here, 25 and under. 22,000 of our kids are in foster care. We got 15% of our youth, black youth, nationwide. And of the ones in detention, 41% are Adocs. Is that happening to Nigerians who are worth 60,000 liquid? Or is that happening to Adocs who are worth 200 liquid? And you got simpleton Adocs running around here screaming about Pan-Africanism and trying to say every black in the country is entitled to our repair. While our people perish and they take it over. And they don't mind being complicit in that plan until they become us. Which will happen once they extinct us to as few in numbers as the Indians. Always remember, they fled their Holocaust. We are still living ours. Rip Jelani Day and the rest. Let me continue to share. South to be xenophobes because we're trying to put up a gate around our repair. Well, let me share some facts with you real quick from the Commonwealth LA, and then I'll let you guys go. I gotta jump. Education is great. This was on the task force meeting yesterday for California reparations.
Education is great. We especially need to teach our history to our kids, since a lot of these people in this country pretend that we are the racists for wanting our kids to be taught true American history, which includes our never-ending Holocaust. But education doesn't guarantee employment, given that our affirmative action benefits everyone but us, nor does it close the over $100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap. We've got 900,000 kids 18 and under here in California. And of 215,000 teachers, roughly 12,000 or 5.5% are Black. 22,000 of our kids are in foster care. Our youth make up 15% of the youth nationwide. And yet of all the youth that are detained, we occupy 41%. I'm asking you, even though we all suffer racism, who's impacted by foster care and the prison pipeline? Nigerians who are worth $72,000 here in Southern California, who also, some of which descend from slave traders who chose to migrate here? Or is it Adocs, whose ancestors were sold into chattel slavery, who have a $3,500 wealth position, or 4.5% of Nigerian wealth in the country our ancestors built with their lives? What you are contemplating? Let me finish.
So you're mad. I'm not sure. Let her finish.
I would like to finish.
You want a Nigerian passport? This is Nigerian.
Excuse me. I would like to finish. What you are contemplating with our reparations and sharing it with Black immigrants is akin to another white wealth transfer, which clearly has already been done in education and the workforce, both in the public and private sectors, per our affirmative action. Class-based policies don't fix race. When you elevate everyone, the Black American descendant of U.S. chattel slavery is still on the bottom. Furthermore, I don't recall any other group having to share their reparations with migrants. In closing, it is evident by the wealth position of immigrants, including the Black ones, and the wealth position of whites, that Adocs is clearly your reparation. It is time for Adocs to take care of Adocs. No other group is as oppressed, and everyone eats from the wealth our ancestors generated with their lives, but us, their descendants. I thank you for this platform. I thank you for allowing me to share. Peace. I gotta jump.
Well, that was that, family. We're dealing with an over 100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap that the white folks killed and stole from our ancestors. That the immigrants eat from that wealth. Of the 3 trillion that we share as Blacks in this country, 2.3 trillion is shared by 10% of Blacks. Less than 700 billion since the pandemic is shared by Adocs. There's some overlap, but by and large, Black immigrants make up about 14%, and we make up about what? 86% of the Blacks in this country. And yet I got to hear from folks about how we need that one Pan-Africanist dude who was shutting me down and cutting me off rudely like a bull in a goddamn China store. He's Adocs. FBAB1, he descends from Freedmen, but he's sitting up there riding for Nigerians like the motherland spit his ass out. I just came to learn that about an hour ago. That both of them are descend from chattel slavery. So, given that they are 14% and that 2.3 of the 3 trillion we share is largely concentrated by them and a few outliers from those of us who descend from U.S. chattel slavery. So don't come for me talking about if you would just stop buying 40 ounces, if you would just stop doing your hair, if you would just stop buying your nails. You could close the over $100 trillion
population wealth gap. How stupid do you sound to be suggesting to those of us who currently have a median income nationally of $30,000 with a median home price of $380,000 and a median Los Angeles home price of $800,000? You sound dumb when you're sitting up on platforms crying for folks who don't give a good goddamn about you. And then you want to come for me and cut me off when I'm bringing you the data. Mad at me that I'm not protecting no one's interests but that of Black American descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. You got me all the way mixed up if you think I give a damn about immigration. I do not. And if that costs us a friendship because I'm fighting for my people, I'm fighting for my daughter and my grandkids and my great-grandkids, I'm fighting for my lineage. We are fighting for our lives. We're fighting for our very existence. This ain't no joke. You ingrates. You're ungrateful for what my ancestors did to make a way for you. How dare you spit on the graves of my ancestors? Heinous chattel slave labor from the slave traders that you descend from. How dare you? They made a way for your sorry ass to be in this country. You should be kissing the feet of every Adocs, Freedman, B1 FBA. Because we still fighting for survival. And don't come up in here talking about, oh, they kill us too. Run me those numbers. Whether you're in your neighborhoods and you're 60,000 liquid executing you by state sanction. Don't just intimate some BS that you think you can stick on the wall. Run me the goddamn data. I ain't saying y'all ain't got a couple outliers, but by and large, they're executing us and getting away with murder as Biden gives protections to the Asians. And we can't even get the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed. Don't come for me unless I send for you. Silly, niggard Adocs is what you are to be fighting for anyone but your own people. Read, damn it. Read your history. Read some reports on this money. Download the free PDF for what's happening in your state. And I'm going to talk about it. I don't care what you call me. I don't care what you do. I'm going to talk about it till times get better for my people. And you will not shame me into putting a gate up for mine. Everybody, it's time to get off the tit. Adocs gotta save Adocs. We have no friends. Clearly. And I will not be bamboozled into going on any more platforms with these self-hating niggerites. I'm not. Don't bamboozle me into coming on to nobody's channel that's not Adocs first, second, third, and fourth. Don't even ring my phone. I don't want a link. I'm only seeking Adocs and allies. Not wasting my time on these niggerant Adocs who want to fight for every damn body while their people have been integrated into a goddamn burning building. I'm not interested in kumbaya when our people are literally on fire right now. $30,000 immediate income if they've got a job. The highest rates of unemployment, the highest rates of underemployment. Preschool to prison pipelines, single family homes, post-traumatic slave syndrome, can't afford housing, can't get loans for businesses while you sit up on your high-ass horse and try to tell us what to do. Go to your country and do what we did here. And then let's have a conversation. Will you get your whites and Asians together over in Africa? You are dealing with the strongest blacks in the world in this country. We are 41 million strong because we pulled ourselves up as we continue to do by our bootless straps every second of every day. You know how we got to 41 million? You know how we got to 4 million? We were raped. That's what you're looking at. A lineage of rape when you look at me. All kind of medical malpractice on our women as slaves. The whole gynecological industry was built on black women's bodies. They gave us syphilis and wouldn't give us the cure. That's our people, not yours. No, they can come over here and get educated, Trey. I'm done with that. It makes my blood pressure go through the roof. I don't have the patience nor the time. We are out of time. Anytime you see Jelani Day, pre-med student, okay, all his organs missing, including his spleen, his liver, his brain, and his jawbone was sawed off. And these Mickey Fickies wait 30 days to tell its mama so they can try to pretend they didn't find that body on September 4th. So they can make a case that his organs liquefied versus being harvested on the open organ market. We are out of time, clearly. He was pre-med, the best and the brightest. I ain't got time to educate them. Why don't y'all share my channel with them and tell them I got a good 400 videos over here? They run my blood pressure up with that nonsense they be on. Yes, I thank the Prince Amir for shutting up the bull so I could finish my thought. He was very gracious, and I was glad to be able to be on that platform, but I'm one and done until they're really ready to examine what's happening to our people. Let them be invested. They got a couple years. I've been in this fight since 2019. All them videos are sitting here if they want to know how we got tethered to the bottom. And before I go, family, it ain't your fault. It is not your fault. What you're suffering through right now has nothing to do with you. My fight ain't even these silly ass immigrants. My fight is this government. At every level. We need all hands on deck. Hi, BB Love. Let me go up here and see what y'all got to say, and I'm going to pray us out so I can go have a drink. Ivy says, Gavin Newsom giving the Bruce family their land back in Manhattan Beach, California gives me hope. You're right, Ivy. You're absolutely right, sis. He signed that AB 3121, and we putting in the work. If you want to make public comments, send me a Gmail at thereperspect@gmail.com. I'll send you the link. We're back on deck December 8th and 9th. And I'm working to get all of my public comments assembled in little short videos because I'm dropping bombs. I mean, it takes a couple weeks to get my comments down to 3 minutes. But it seems I'm making the family very proud, speaking on their behalf about the atrocities we continue to suffer in this country. And I'm grateful to you for believing in my voice, for supporting my voice in the new Black media, for sharing my videos, for donating to the channel, for just the love. Sometimes y'all just send me little funny things and it just lifts me up because this is the hardest free labor I've ever done in my life. But when God calls you, you either say yes or you miss a window to be on the right side of history. This is nothing but God. When I speak, the ancestors are speaking through me. I feel them. I'm an empath, especially for my people, because I understand how we got here. Ivy said they got mad at you last night on Dyna's channel. Good, because anger gets shit done. Okay? It does for me. I was mad at the bull, the Pan-Africanist bull. Dynast search for Uhura. Yeah, they always get mad when you spit that truth that they know not of. They got to question everything they stand for now. Trey says they look confused. I didn't see it. I couldn't even watch it after fighting to be heard. That was on my nerve. I didn't interrupt their asses. I sat there patiently and waited my turn, and I had to get to a whole nother meeting that went all night. That's why I'm not going to be over here all night. I'm going to settle down. I'm sure my daughter's tired of hearing me scream in this house. Ivy says he attacked you. He attacked me. Oh, now see, that upsets me. That's why I don't fool with that. That kind of stuff make me want to jump through the screen. I'm no good with trying to convince people of what we are owed. And this is what happens when you got white folks guaranteeing that they whitewash the history like this shit is fiction. When we're living the vestiges. May they all burn in hell. That's how I feel. Ivy says, I stated that Sherman Order number 15 should have been honored and he attacked me. I'm so sorry, love. Listen, baby. In this fight, you're going to learn not to cast your pearls before swine. And that's what you do when you allow these people to get you in this tete-a-tete. That's why I refuse. I'm going to, from now on, that was sent to me at the last minute. I was grateful till I wasn't. And then I learned I was speaking to a Nigerian audience. I doubt they'll come over here and listen to this, though. Ivy says, I don't deal with Democrats in California anymore because of DACA. Sis, I overstand, but these Republicans ain't got nothing for us in that Congress. Nothing. And so my idea is to lock the government down with a red top and a blue Congress to protect the over 50% of Adocs. That number is probably through the roof now since the pandemic, who rely on government assistance by design of institutional systemic racism. We have no money. The only thing we can weaponize is the vote. And third parties don't stand a snowball chance in hell. I know that's on their Christmas wish list, but it will take, you can work on that for several lifetimes and it will never happen. I tell you why. They have learned how to co-opt primaries to usher in Biden and Kagame. She was fourth in her own presidential run out here because we know her record against Adocs. We know what she did to the father of Mitrice Richardson, whom the Glacier Donkey, white inferior race soldiers set free after she had a bipolar episode. It wasn't the Palisades, maybe in Malibu. The story is kind of old. You can look it up. Mitrice Richardson. But basically, Mr. Richardson was relying on Kagame to help bring his daughter justice by at least indicting these officers who set her free to her own devices, without her cell phone, without her car, without her shoes, after telling her mother, who lived all the way like South Central, that they would keep her overnight. And she did that as a political ploy to get the black vote to turn out for her. Once the black vote turned out for her, she told Mr. Richardson no harm, no foul was done by the race soldiers letting his bipolar daughter loose at 2 a.m. in the morning, after promising her mom they would keep her overnight, because her mother would have made her way to a very dark Malibu to pick up her child, had she known that they were going to free her in the middle of the night with nothing on her. I think they found her about a week or two later. The story is fuzzy to me now, but that's what Kagame did. And that's why she was fourth in her own race. Tulsi Gabbard exposed even more of what we had been sharing in the social media spaces, lighting her ass up, her Asian Indian ass up. And that's who she's choosing to help with H-1B visas and the like. Thanks to 87% of our electorate who chose not to listen to us about the Democratic down ballot and making way for a Trump top in a blue Congress, because they would rather listen to the corporate with 3 Ks, lamestream news media called CNN and MSNBC. They'd rather listen to them immigrants, scare the bejesus out of them about an overt racist named Trump, when the covert racist named Biden and Kagame had the worst records against Adocs. Biden is the author of the 94 crime bill, for God's sake. We've got about 2 million black men alone. Is that Nigerian men in the prisons? No, they guard the prisons. These black immigrants are our black white oppressors. Very little exceptions. So we have to do this, Ivy, regrettably, in the Congress, but we cannot give the Democrats the top of the ticket until they cut our checks in the trillions over multi-generations. And in the meantime, we've got to get our people out running for office to unseat the lames in the CBC. Votes matter. And so that's why I've got this platform, and there's many others out here that have platforms as a part of the new black media to teach the truth. Because this is what happens when you whitewash the truth. It makes everybody comfortable doing a Democrat trifecta, especially those with money. Nigerians 60,000 liquid in LA in 2014. Who knows what it is right now? Off the chain and off the charts. They're not the ones dying disproportionately in this pandemic. That I can assure you. Nor are they being executed by state sanction and the citizens that are being deputized, like Kyle Rittencracker, you understand, who raised $2 million for his defense and then didn't even show up to court. Shanna Kim says, show not in their suburban neighborhoods. You best to know the race soldiers are not in their suburban neighborhoods where they integrate into whiteness, because the color of white in this country is green. You notice the poor Asians got whipped on and got sent back to Port-au-Prince. The Africans have money when they come here because they by and large descend from slave traders when they make it in here. That's the only kind of black allowed in this country. The ones that hate Adocs. BB, I see you, my love. Salute Angela and the chat. Thank you, love, for being here. BB says you rose to the occasion yesterday evening. Thank you, BB. I didn't realize so many of us was watching you, Huru. Listen, I just got the link from my sister friend, but I told her I can't do it. I can't be over speaking to Negroes. I just don't have the patience, as you can clearly see. We are out of time. We are at Jelani Day and George Floyd and Sandra Bland and Trayvon Martin, Elijah McClain. I could go on and freaking on. I pay tribute to them in the intro. When you rewind, check that intro out. It is fire. Shout out to you, Moya from Emin the Mass Media. I'll play you the outro too. It's fire. I'm just thrilled. Next, I need a team. I need a team. Oh, Lord, it's going to come. It's going to come. All things in due season. Family, I'm going to be here till we got at least 4 million fighting with me. We small, but we mighty as hell. Okay, we tired. We can use some more hands. If you want to get in the fight, Gmail me at thereprespect@gmail. Visit my website, thereprespect.com. Sign up for my email list. We got merchandise coming soon. It's fire. With my brand logos and some other treats on there for you. It's fire. BB says louder. Facts. I get on that fool every day. Angela, you speaking to souls that hear. And that I'm grateful. That's all I want. I want folks who already have an understanding. I don't have time to convince niggard Negroes. I have no time for that. BB says, truth, run the data. That's right. I dealt with Trey. I'm not educating no one that don't want to be educated. Y'all can share this link. Give them the education because I didn't have time to really unpack it. I was speeding like I do on my 3-minute comments at the task force reparations meetings. BB says, Trey, she provided the data. Thank you. Being casual causes you to become a casualty. Woo, that's fire. BB, that got to get flashed on my screen. Being casual causes you to become a casualty. I see you, BB Rodriguez. Les Brown. Yes, sister. Yes. Turn down for what? This is the last time I'm doing this here. Because you see, it makes my blood pressure go on the rise. And I promised myself, after having a wonderful celebration in Kona, Hawaii, with my daughter turning 17, that I was not going to allow this fight to disrupt the calm peace of my soul. Well, it's done, did it. And I'm taking my peace back after this show. I'm not dealing with this nonsense no more, other than in my comments over there at the task force. I'm going to constantly remind them that immigrants ain't owed a damn thing because we are their reparations. That's my square. BB says, there's no more time. Y'all better wake up. She ain't never lied. Akil, if Nigerians in LA have 60K liquid, then whose fault is that? Akil, go ahead and review my videos. They made you Adocs. You don't know that? Then you clearly aren't invested in knowing. You don't know the Black American descendant of U.S. chattel slavery's plight in this country and how Nigerians are 60,000 liquid
to our $200 liquid, you're the kind of Negro I have no time for. I got 400 videos. Check them out and get educated. And it's a damn shame if you're in this country and if you're anywhere in the free world and don't know the history of our plight. I don't have time in this closing to educate you. Telling sis, our fight is with the government. Absolutely. I understand your frustration, but that is just one city. Honey, it's every goddamn where. Educate yourself. Don't tell me it's just one city. In Boston, the Caribbeans are 12,000 liquid to Adocs. 700 liquid. 12,000 wealth position, 700 wealth position. I think, and I might be confusing them, I've done plenty of shows on this. You need to go look at the archives. Pull down the free color of wealth reports for Boston and Miami and look at how this is nationwide for Black American descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. You clearly know not what you speak of. And I can't stand Negroes that don't get hip to the history and what has happened to us and how we got on the bottom of this Titanic. Don't come in this feed acting like it is our fault. Well, you know this government has done this to us. They have legislated us out of being American, where we built all the wealth you and the other Mickey Fickies eat from. How about don't ask me no more dumbass questions, because I'm not the one or the two right now. I don't have the patience to educate you when I've got archives from October 19th. What's that? I got 2 years of archives. If you truly want to know, go and feast on those archives. Like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Otherwise, don't ask me no more niggard questions. I think in Boston, they're $8 liquid. Miami, $11 liquid. All this is our fault, right? Hi, Tanya. I'm sorry. Tanya, they done blew my piece. I'm about to go get it back, though. Bibi says, louder, facts. Angela ushering in with J1 Advance Visa for $15, a.k.a. fast track for high-tech employment in some sciences. Yes, BB. Kabami, hooking her people up at the weaponizing blackness for your vote. But nobody listened to me in the reparationist movement tell you to weaponize that vote, anybody at the top of the ticket, but the Democrats and a blue Congress until we can replace the lames. 15,000 cash. Wow. BB sharing that the Asian Indians coming over here are getting 15,000 cash to take over tech. But this is our fault, right, Akil? Using our reparations to pay immigrants to come over here and train them in tech instead of educating our babies. We get preschool to prison pipelines. But that's our fault, right? Congress pre-approved. Country Del Rey 360, I see you, fam. BB says, no police reform, no protected status designation bill. No! They can execute us with qualified immunity and walk. Turned down for what? Never. You know it, my love. My hubby yells at me about my blood pressure. BB, I overstand. Akil says, I am not ADOS, I'm Caribbean. Nigerians and Africans are hustlers. You are really pissing me the puck off, Mr. Caribbean. Because what you're intimating is we don't hustle. Well, how in the hell did we get to 41 million from 4 million after being raped by our slave masters in this country to produce 4 million? How did we get to 41 million if we aren't constantly pulling ourselves up by our bootless straps? This is the immigrants I'm talking about, family. These are your Negroes who don't want this bottom, so they're totally fine blaming you for your own oppression because they are our black, white oppressors. This is the Negro shit they say. You see it right there. I'm not making it up. This is unbelievable. This is the mindset, and that's why I can't fool with no Pan-Africanist who takes up for this kind of bullshit. They're hustlers. We're lazy, shiftless, no good, no count, and don't know how good we have it. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Adocs and its allies are, God truly is, because family, you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. None of this is your fault. Contrary to the immigrants' purview. None of this is your fault. You were made into the anchor of this country's capitalism. Never forget it. You must lean in. You cannot afford to give in, up or out. Because not only do we have to fight white oppressors, we have to fight the black white oppressors. As you so clearly see by the very Caribbean Akil. Until next time, family, know that I love you black. I love you strong. Peace.